the lads, everyone. Welcome to a new show of the American Magpies. Dan Superfan, that he loves these intros, man.
I tell you, the fact that the Superfan Dan hat gets kind of the gleaming effort, that's just awesome.
Of course, man.
How you
Of
doing,
course, we
Chris?
got.
Good to see you, sir.
I'm doing fine. I'm doing just fine. Listen, we're gonna
I
have a
think,
blast.
hey,
Yeah.
hey, Dan, I think that hat leans over more and more the more you drink. It just kind of leans over.
Yeah, it's like that, right?
There you go. There you go, Kevin.
Um.
The way it goes.
All right. So listen, we're having another show of the American Magpies. We had to include the one and only Kevin Chilvers because he showed me his green card. He's good to go. You know, he's welcome on the American Magpie show. But
I have met Kevin. He is an American Magpie,
okay,
no doubt about it.
We can look. All right, he might have a problem with some Geordies. He you know, I don't know. He can't have both.
I can leave if you want. I mean,
No,
it's up to y'all. It's up to y'all.
Actually, you and John probably you know share about the same because John is actually a Geordie by family, but your dad was a Geordie, so
this is true.
Yep.
Yeah,
But-
which you know.
But yeah, Kevin can go both. I mean, he
Of
can
course,
be.
of course.
He's full Geordie. He's full American.
That's right.
We love the guy and his family. We love him.
Yep,
And Dan, we got to get your wife in the picture. She's just the best.
She's inside the pub. I'll get her out later.
Walk right in.
Yeah. I want to thank Harry Austin for becoming a member of the show, of the channel. Appreciate that. Appreciate the support. You can now become a member. You can
Hey,
now
Harry, welcome aboard.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Remember, you'll get a shot of winning prizes at the end of February. We're going to be giving away a home shirt, Newcastle home shirt. So all members are can win this. So you can join for as little as I believe a little less than $1. I think what it would be like 0.75 p or whatever pounds, British pounds. It's the conversion kills me at times, but yeah, it's not much. And of course, you can have a shot of getting exclusive content as well as winning these giveaway prices. So I guess, man, it's we got to talk about Newcastle United, of course. And today, it was another match that's gonna have us talking about it for a whole week. I want to let everybody know. Please smash the like button, subscribe if you're new to the show. Yeah, let's get started. John, let me get your opinion, man. What are your first thoughts on the match?
Well, first off, I like that new kid, Matt Ritchie, man. He looked good.
yeah. The young lad.
Where did he come from?
I hear he has the magic hat.
That's right. Now, it was good to see, something happened towards the end there. My impression, I think Bruno was fantastic. I think Miley is a rock star. I mean, they both really gave it 100%. They look great out there. What I liked, and we didn't see much of him, but we brought Joe White in. And the reason I like that is, on every team in the Premier League, there's some kid that's playing, right? And we've got them all on the bench. We don't know anything about them. And you've got a team that's decimated with injuries. I harp on this. I'm an old man. It's like, get some guys in at the 75th minute, get them in. They'll gain confidence. They'll get their footing, and then we'll be able to use them later in the year. Well, of course, it's getting later in the year now, and we missed a lot of that opportunity. But anytime somebody new gets in, it's great because the players, the last 20 minutes, they're always knackered. I mean, Gordon, Bruno, Miley, Longstaff, just Longstaff especially, we looked really tired or something. And then the other three, they were giving it their all. Miley, Bruno, Gordon, they were giving it their all. But, you start to fade when you're giving it your all for 75, 80 minutes. So
week in, week out, John.
Yeah, and that's when we slip up. That's when we have a mistake or an injury. So it's just this injury thing is just all over the place. It's it touches everything.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, the injury situation is something to look at for sure in the off season. and say, you know what, we need to open an investigation. I don't know, because actually, Fabian Schär came off with his arm wrapped with his own shirt and looking like something bad. I'm gonna dig into it while I'm on the show, but I do want to say one thing.
Yep.
Let me see real quick. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Because Mighty Mag just became a member of the show as well. So appreciate Mighty Mag.
Hey, Mighty Mag.
Welcome, music. Welcome, Mighty. You're part of the family. Everybody's part of the family, but appreciate your support. Yeah, win the shirt at the end of February. So let me start with Superfan Dan. What are your thoughts, brother, on this particular match that we played today?
Can we be honest and just say it was a shit show?
All right, fine.
Well, no. Listen. It was 0-0 at halftime. To give up the goal that we gave up first. I mean, let's give all credit to Dubs for what he's done since he came on for Pope, a couple of months ago. Same time, I mean, to give up a goal like that is just sloppy.
Yeah.
Just sloppy. And then we had to rely on a penalty via VAR to get us equalized. Then, of course, they came back with another lead. And then we had to wait on this new guy named Matt Ritchie that we, but I mean, for him to come on and score in 90 plus 2 to equalize, and then we couldn't get our shit together enough. Okay. We said this last time. Isak's out. Wilson's out. We didn't bring in a striker over in the transfer window. Now we're playing Alan Gordon in the 9. We're playing Miggy for forever how long. We've got a brand new Harvey Barnes, which is like a new signing for us. But at the same time, he can't play 90 minutes yet because he's not match fit. So we got to bring him off at the 60th minute to bring on, a Matt Ritchie. We're struggling. We're really struggling. We shouldn't be relying on draws in a home match. We should be beating these teams, but at the same time, it's a non-loss. In the words of Rob Schneider in Necessary Roughness, it was a non-loss. So 1 point's better than nothing. I'll take it any day of the week. It's another step up the ladder, but at the same time, we're relying on results from other teams around us and hoping that does the trick for us. It wasn't a great game, but again, a non-loss.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it for sure. Kevin, what are your thoughts, man? Can't wait to hear your American accent.
I'm not going to do American accent. I just can't do it. No, it was Bournemouth came with a game plan. Bournemouth came, like I said, Bournemouth came with a game plan, executed very, very well. There's a phrase of shithousery and pulling, kicking, doing whatever to get a result. Worked, fair play to them. Like a Luton game, disrupt. Not that, and I said earlier on your earlier show, Chris, that you can look at highlights and you look at stills and freeze frames and stuff like that, and there's one behind the Gallagher. No, Leeds' end, my bad. When the ball goes back into Sven Botman and then the ball goes across to Martin Dubravka, if you look at Sven Botman's position and you look at Lewis Miley's position, he can clip a ball into him, and that never occurs. And that's a freeze frame. I paused it throughout the game, watching it on TV and through the highlight package, what NBC or Peacock put on. And the position Solanke takes up is a brilliant one based on their press, because their press is really, really high. And done a brilliant job at it. They've done a fantastic job on us. One ball does us through the midfield. I'm not going to slate Dan Burn, I just feel like he's isolated, and I wouldn't have taken him off at all across the game. I would have changed the shape. But at the end of the day, like Dan said, it's a point. You know, you'll always take a point in the Premier League game.
Oh yeah.
But when you're at home, you got to get victories. You got to get wins. You got to get points on the board. Yes, it wasn't a perfect performance. And I agree with John in terms of Bruno. I thought he was fantastic, even though it was 2-2 and they were applying all the pressure, and he was starting nutmegging people on the edge of the 18-yard boxes like as if they weren't even there. You know, that's just the caliber of the player. And you know, it's just in a phrase, as a coach's phrase or any phrase, it's just naughty. You just don't do that. You know, that's just naughty. You don't. But look, I think Eddie's stubborn to the fact the way he wants to play, but in my opinion, I believe he has to change it in some way, shape, or form. Don't know what that is. I would say go to a 3 and not make Dan Burn a scapegoat, but excuse me, he is going to be the scapegoat now based on that he's been taken off after the mistake that was made.
Yeah,
which is unfortunate for him, and I wouldn't do that based on confidence levels.
because you're gonna play him again. You know he know he's gonna play him again.
Well, yeah, but for as a player, confidence that's detrimental to him,
right?
You know, and that's I wouldn't have taken him off today. I would have put Tino on. I would have took Miggy off, and I would have restructured it based off of that. And played him as a 3. You can't blame him for what happened. You can. There's a tactical, there's a 1v1, there's a disparity with that of what happened. The same thing, what happened against Luton. You can divulge into all of that as much as you want. But you can't just bring somebody up based off one decision that happened. So I would have kept him on, played him as a 3. Put Tino left wing back, played Trips as a right wing back, overloaded the midfield, left Gordon up top or whatever he wanted to do beyond that. And who knows what could have happened. But again, a point in the Premier League is a point in the Premier League. However, we have to beat these teams, not in and around us, but those are below us. You have to beat them.
I will say one thing. I want to say this because earlier in the match reaction, you know, when things are heated and our blood's still boiling, I don't know if I said it, but I was definitely in favor of criticizing Dan Burn. I watched this play now 1,000 times, and I will say Dan Burn was not at fault at all on this goal, in my opinion, in my personal opinion. And we can debate it. But I don't think because he stayed with his man the whole time. He really didn't get left behind. He was right there parallel to Semenyo, and Semenyo just pulled up a shot. You know, he really didn't get away from him. So I don't know what you guys think, John, Superfan Dan. Then we can go in that order. But
you know, it's a tough one because you know we all watch this every week, and it's always down the left side. So whether Dan is at fault or not, it's obvious that other teams are focusing on that, and that's where they're scoring from. I would probably like to see Tino start and I don't, nothing against Dan. I would just to take the pressure off of Dan and Eddie. You know, it's like, let's just change it up. Damn, see what happens, you know? But I and it goes back to something somebody else said about, you know, Dan's playing out of place to begin with, right?
Right.
So, I mean, you know, and that goes to injuries and all kinds of other stuff. And maybe a lack of talent on the left side or a lack of trust with other people, you know? So I don't know. That's my say. Go ahead.
I will follow up with John and Kevin and say Dan Burn has been targeted without doubt in every match in the last 4 matches. They can tell you're going to put a speed merchant up against him. I've been saying it the last couple of games. I would like to see a switch to a back three. There's nothing wrong with Dan Byrne playing on the left-hand side of a back three.
Right.
Put Tino on to start. Lewis Miley has been a revelation in midfield. Bruno has been fantastic, given that he's playing up against a two-match ban if he gets a yellow.
Yeah.
I think I hate to criticize Longstaff, but I want to say that, maybe Longstaff needs a rest. Let's put Tino in from the start. Let's play with our back three. Go to a 3-5-2. We have Miley and Bruno in midfield. I was happy to see Barnes come in to start, but I was sad to see Jacob Murphy go off, to sit on the bench. But at the same time, like we talked about last week, Murphy left the seat. The Murphy went off last game. Alan Gordon went off on crutches last game. We're seeing psychological operations in play with Eddie Howe. I just I think we take the week. Let's regroup, and I
Yep.
think maybe we see a 3-4-3 next weekend with Murphy, Barnes, and Gordon. Give Miggy a rest. Give Longstaff a rest, and see what we can come up with. I don't know. We're bereft of options
Yeah,
when
we
it
are.
comes to substitutes because we don't have any.
Right. But
Yeah.
some of that thinking is good and proactive, and it might help. But I don't know if we'll see it.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I want to say one thing before I go to Kevin. Um, this show, the American Magpie Show, has been one of the shows that performs really well. So I appreciate your support as usual, and I just wanted to point that out because we got to give some love to our American pundits that we got in this show. So I appreciate that because this show actually performs well. So I appreciate it. And everybody in the because 97% of the audience of the channel is from the tune. That's insane. Not even
Right.
channels from Newcastle get that, which is unheard of. And I do believe it's because they want to get this perspective from this side of the world. But Kevin, what do you think on this? I mean, do you think that it was that it, because to be honest with you, is a good Jordan would say, my piss boiled today every time I saw Almiron making a bad play. And to be honest with you, nobody's talking about Almiron. Everybody's talking about Dan Byrne,
Yeah.
who wasn't. And again, yeah, they are targeting that side, but not a lot of criticism towards Miggy. That really, I mean, you can see the frustration in his teammates. Trippier, he was just throwing his arms in the air like, dude, give me the ball.
It was countless times that he made a wrong decision in the final third, made a wrong pass.
Yeah.
There was multiple. The one that he put in the Gallagher end, and Trippier was going on the overlap, and he put it in the Gallagher end. Similarly, when Harvey Barnes made the out end run across their back four, and Anthony Gordon standing there by himself. Why are you going why are you going to be the hero? Why can't you be the hero and give it to somebody else who's in a better position than you? But the one that stands out to me, and we know he hasn't got a right foot, it was in the first half, and he stabbed at it as if he was poking a Boston butt. American phrase, but you see.
Yeah. And it's good food too. It's good food in the South.
You're welcome. He stabbed at it with his right peg and he put it wide. If he's got some composure and just moves his feet slightly, just adjusts his body and then just get a good contact onto the ball and put it, yes, granted it was 2, 3, 4 foot wide, but the way he made contact with the ball was amateurish. It was poor. It was dreadful. I mean, it was sad to see, but again, this look, he tried. Look, I'm not going to knock him, but at the same time, come on, you're a pro.
Yeah.
Right.
Get it on at least on target. Make the keeper save. Put it in the back of the net. Do something about it. You know what I mean? So again, he's again. I'll put another American phrase or my phrase. It's all fart no poo. He'll run. He's all desire. He's all work rate, but the output is literal shit. I would have brought him off earlier than what Eddie did.
Yeah.
And I don't understand bringing Murphy on to put him up through the middle, which he's not. That doesn't work. Don't understand that one. But I would have hauled him off. And again, he could completely change the shape and completely change the system. But at the same time, I watched him here in Atlanta with Joseph Martinez, who's one of the greatest goal scorers in MLS history. And Miggy played as a 10 behind him. You can go and watch it. You can go and look at it on YouTube, whatever. But Joseph Martinez, who's now in Montreal, he dropped in and Miggy just ran him beyond as a 10. So that different role, different responsibilities, but he looked better when he's in behind somebody in a different role than he was wide. So Harvey Barnes and Miggy swapped over. Gordon went out wide, vice versa. There's multiple different movements. Miggy looked better in behind in a free role where he didn't have no responsibility. However, I would have still hauled him off based on his production because I thought he was 4 out of 10. He was dire, to be honest.
Yeah. Thank you to David Lee for becoming a member. Another member, a third one of the night. I appreciate everybody's support. And again, you might win a home shirt at the end of February, as well as enjoy exclusive content. So appreciate you, David Lee, for the support, my friend. I guess we can go with some comments. Sorry. Oh, my thing is twitching. What is going on? There we go. I guess we can go with some comments. We gotta let the fans have their say. Jordy Revolution says, despite the result, the commentators seemed unbiased, and I completely agree that for a neutral fan, bread and butter, end to end, Dubs didn't F it up. He slipped. 3 players across both teams did. Yeah, that is true. I believe in the play that we scored at the end. That was also like a little bit of a slip there, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But David Lee says, what do you think about the result? Oh, they're talking about, I'm sorry. They're talking about amongst themselves. Oh, no, actually, yeah, I wanted to bring this up because he says, what do you what do you think about the result? Ian, talking to Ian Fleming, and he says, I would tell you, David, but my brother told me if I have nothing good to say, keep it quiet. So yeah, that's kind of how the evening has gone for Newcastle. Mad Max says, evening all, good to see that Kev was allowed to participate. Yes,
Yeah.
of course. Right here, Jordan Revolution congratulating on or talking about Dan's hat, the blue hat that we had on the intro. Yeah, of course. Yeah, he only wears it. Does he wear that every game? That would be a or he. Well, I guess we can. He's trying to get back on. He's lost connection, by
Yeah.
the way. So Ian is trying to. I mean,
He
Dan is
has a
trying to get
number.
back on.
He has a number of costumes.
Yeah. Kevin, you got to go, my brother. All right, man. Thank you for coming on, and we'll see you. We'll see you on the next one, man. Enjoy your
Cheers,
dinner.
mate. See you later, lads. Drop.
Yes, sir. See you, man. No problem.
Take care, Kev.
Yes. Well, I guess we can talk about this Fabian Schär deal. He came off the pitch with his arm, wrapped around his own shirt, walking with.
Really,
I
just like
believe
Callum.
exactly, just like that.
Really,
Can
Man,
you imagine that?
I saw where he fell like on his back, and he
Right.
was hurting his hip or his back. It seemed to be bothering him, but
Right.
I didn't see that. But yeah, somebody on Twitter was saying, "Who's going to get injured today?" I think it's going to be Schär. It's like, oh my God,
man.
don't jinx it. But I
But-
mean, it's like, yeah, there's going to be somebody injured. It's like
But-
you can count
But
on it.
the fact that that's become the norm I just don't understand it, man.
It's like it's like somebody sticking pins in a doll somewhere, you know?
Yeah, and
It's crazy.
every match there's an injury, and it's not even. It doesn't even have to be in the 90 minutes no more. It should
Yeah.
be right. It is just it's incredible. I'm trying to find more about it. I don't know if the fans know anything about it, but at this point, I mean, uh, well, let me see. I think Eddie in the said something after the match. I think he might have said, "I think the ball hit his arm at the end." I'll whisper
Oh,
that because I don't know if it was
yeah,
in or out of box. Yeah,
I did see that where he was sitting on the ground and he was kinda holding his arm, his
yeah.
hand, looked like his
It
hand.
might have been his hand. Um,
Yeah,
I mean, I just hope it's not a bad deal. I mean,
yeah.
right at this point, obviously, you would think Lascelles would come on, so there is somebody there. But some fans are thinking, I don't know what you think about this, but some fans are thinking, why not put Shar in the midfield to kind of play like a DM, like a defensive midfielder, because he's done it at Switzerland, and we're Longstaff is not playing well. Miley is trying to keep up. Bruno is definitely trying to do it all. So, would you be open for that?
I I have a lot of confidence in the guy as far as, defensively and moving the ball. So and his passing touch. So yeah, I wouldn't be against that if they need resources in the middle, and we do, it wouldn't bother me. Um, but yeah, another thought, Chris, just thinking of what we were all talking about just for the last few minutes. Oh, there's Dan. Good, good.
There we go.
Good to see you back, Dan. I think if two people kind of underperformed, I think it would be yeah, Miggy and Longstaff, and I wouldn't. They deserve more critique, let's say, than Dan Byrne in this case.
Yeah. What do you think? I didn't get your point, super fan Dan. What do you think about not much criticism towards Almiron, but to be honest with you, he was I was struggling with him today. I really
Yeah,
was.
Well, the,
That's awesome. That's awesome right there.
I have three.
three
That was
daughters.
the youngest. Um, I think Mickey was industrious today. He was everywhere. We saw him everywhere.
Mhm.
Was he productive?
Yeah.
Hard to
Yeah,
say.
yeah,
But again, is Miggy a 90-minute player week in, week out, twice a week? No, he's not.
yeah,
We have to remember we brought him in 5 years ago from Major League Soccer, which I've been I'm an American fan. That's what this show is all about. I'm an American fan, and I've been a Major League Soccer fan for almost 30 years now. We got Miggy Almiron for a league record fee at the time. I mean, not league record, team club record fee at the time, because he was the best option we had available to Rafa at the time.
Yeah.
Is he the best player? No. Has he gotten older in 5 years? Yes. Is he a guy that you can rely on 90 minutes out of every match? No. Is he a guy that you can rely on 90 minutes out of every match of every game this season, in a game in a season where we're in the Champions League for the first time in 20 years? No. It- Again, I hate to hammer on Mickey. Mickey has done an excellent job over the last couple of years, given the circumstances. Was he productive today? No. Was he industrious today? Yes. I would say he's everywhere. He doesn't exactly produce every game. But again, here's a guy that probably deserves starting on the bench and coming off as a 30 at the 60-minute mark
Yeah.
for a couple of games. Only because they're knackered, Chris. They're
yeah,
all exhausted. They've been playing week in, week out in 4 different competitions this season, and we've had an unprecedented number of injuries. No one wants to talk about it. When we do talk about it, everybody wants to say it's not an excuse, but give me a break, dude. With the squad that we have, losing up to 13 first team members across the season for what are they collectively calling it? The Chronicle's calling it what, 900 days?
That was kind of heavy for me.
Is that right?
Push the
Collectively?
right now to the oven so they can
Yeah,
make
somewhere
the
around that. I
pizzas
mean,
and
that
then
we've
just
had
put them
players
up
out.
and then
Yeah.
pick them up.
So, I mean, no one's talking about it, and when they do talk about it, it's like, well, we can't use that as an excuse. It is an excuse. For
Yeah,
crying out loud, get used to it.
here's an example of that, Dan. Today, I would say that we had a really good amount of chances today, and there were a couple of things that I think Miggy, even though he shot a couple times when I wished he'd have passed, there was once or twice where he put that ball right in front of the net. And injuries, if Callum or Isak was there, I think we'd have had a shot, you know? And the same with Bruno. He put one across the middle. Nobody's there, you know? So, I mean, it comes up in every situation if you look at it.
There was one pass that the Peacock commentators showed where Miggy had the ball, and the easier play was to play it out wide to Trippier, and Trippier lost his rag. I mean, he just looked at Miggy and was like,
Yeah.
"What are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
Give me the ball."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Go
there
ahead,
were
Joe.
there were times when he really needed to pass the ball, 2 or 3 that I can think of, instead of shooting. But then again, the point I was trying to make with the injuries is, you know, if we had a Callum in there, if we had an Isak in there, it would have been different with those opportunities across the middle, you know.
Well,
And we literally don't have them with
Yeah.
with our
And-
only 2 renowned strikers injured. We've got nobody else.
Yeah.
And Billy the Fish brings up a good point, all the way from the bottom of the ocean. I think there is a strong possibility we're not going to see Wilson play again for Newcastle, and Miggy will be gone in the summer. The fact that Wilson, we didn't talk about it. I mean, we kind of brought up the rumor that he was hurt last show, but we didn't really knew much, and so now we know that he's going to be basically out for the season.
Yeah.
I mean, there's hopes that he might come back, but I mean, to be honest, I don't know what the point would be to bring him for a match or two. But I mean, do you guys think that at some point in time,
FA Cup final?
oh yeah, well that is true. That is true. But I mean, what is your stance on Wilson? I mean, at some point, you like the guy, you care for the guy. He's good when he's healthy, but he hasn't managed to stay healthy. So at some point, the club needs to make a decision
Yeah.
because we can't be out of strikers. You know,
We've said for the last couple of episodes, our strike force is made of glass.
Mm.
They're constantly injured. They're never. I mean, when we were our most inventive and most productive last season, it was when we had Isak and Wilson on the pitch at the same time. We have never been able to do that this season. If we have, I say never. I apologize. If we've been able to play them together on the pitch at the same time, it's been flightingly, 15 minutes here, 20 minutes there. 90% of the time, it's been Isak injured or Wilson injured. Now that Wilson is out pretty much for the rest of the season with this pectoral issue, my aunt texted me the other night and said, she's an EMT. She said, "Who hurt their pectoral tendon?" I explained it, and she was just like, "Ouch." As an EMT, she was like, "Ouch." There's not an easy comeback from that. I go back to, it would have been nice to have brought in either a free agent or a loan signing in January just to get us over the hump, because we can't rely on Isak and Wilson for any amount of time. Isak is going to be a world-class player, no doubt about it.
Oh,
But
yeah.
we have to keep him. But we have to keep him fit. And so far, we haven't been able to keep him fit.
Yeah.
Wilson, while we love him and we appreciate everything he's done for us at the as a number 9, at the same time, at 31 years old, 32 at this close season, it might be time to pull the hatch.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the point is he's been injured so much. I love the guy to death because when he's on, he's very poised out there. He's very confident out there. And he pushes for his spot and he gets chances. But I think it's the age factor on top of the injury thing. You know, it's like, can we afford to have him holding that spot? So yeah, I think Billy made a good point. It's like, yeah, Miggy might not be around, and Wilson might not be around either next year. You know,
Yeah.
so I know we're all waiting to see what happens this summer. It's going to be
if Miggy if Miggy is willing to take a bit part play and sit on the bench and come on as that 40 minute mark, 30 minute mark, 20 minute mark, alternative.
Yeah.
I'll have Miggy any day of the week.
Yeah.
I'll say the same about Callan Wilson, but at the same time, we can't afford to be sentimental like we are about Dummett and Richie. Again, thank God today for Matt Ritchie. Here's a
Yeah.
guy who was Johnny on the spot to put the ball where it needed to be. Is that a guy that we want to start next week? Is that a guy that we're going to rely on week in, week out in the 75th minute to come on and get us a result? I don't think we want to be in that position. I don't think PIF wants to be in that position. We're just in a situation where we've had a shit ton of injuries and we haven't been able to come back from those injuries. Every player that we've brought back, it seems like we've rushed them back and they end up getting injured either on par or worse than they were when they came back. So it just, I'm grateful to be where we are at this part in the season.
Yeah.
Do I wish that we had carried on in the Champions League? Absolutely. Do I wish we could have gotten further in the Carabao Cup? Absolutely. We're still in the FA Cup, and we're still doing our goddamnedest to march up the Premier League, given the results and the injuries that we've had on our club. I mean, just no one's talking about the injuries, but yet everybody's dancing around it. Let's not dance around it. We've got an injury crisis, and we haven't been able to get past it.
And you know that every game, because of the injuries, we've got 10 guys out there who are running all over the place. And it's only a matter of time before somebody makes a mistake, gets hurt themselves, or is too tired and gets run right around, So it's there. It's constant.
I loved seeing Joe White make his debut today.
Me too.
Absolutely loved it. Because, quite frankly, we probably should have blooded Joe White 3-4 matches ago just to get his feet on the pitch and get them some minutes. To throw him on at home with 12 minutes left with 10 minutes of injury time, good for Joe. But at the same time, what good is he going to do with 2 minutes in regulation and 10 minutes of extra time? It's just good to see him because that's another option that we did not have a month ago.
Yeah, if we were all healthy, I would kind of dovetail on what you said earlier. That's when I would bring in Miggy. Is like 15 minutes left in the game, 75-minute. Bring him in. He gets 15 minutes plus stoppage time, and let him, because the energy that these guys bring in at the end of a game, it throws people off. They've got to all adjust. The other team has to adjust. Isn't that great? We need that on them instead of us adjusting for everything and just trying to hang on till the clock runs out.
And did you want to say something, Dan?
No, I was 100% agreeing with what John had to say. It just, we are biding time at this point, Chris. We're doing the best we can with what we've got.
Yeah.
One of the things that happened this week that obviously we didn't have a chance to talk about, and I want to get your opinion on it, is the Dan Ashworth drama throughout the whole week. I want to get your perspective, and let me start with John because Dan's got to recuperate. but
Well,
oh, yeah, yeah. What do
I
you think on that?
I hate it when there's some drama going on. It's like I saw a couple of comments. It's like Eddie's being thrown out there. He's got to answer for all this stuff, and it's like it's not him. Get the club officials to say something one way or the other. You know,
Mhm.
and to me, if Dan Ashworth was going to go, I would want us to get something out of Man United, like a nice fee, or else he's decided he wants to leave. It's like, okay, you're on gardening leave, and that's fine. We got to move forward. It seems like here's what I'm seeing or thinking, and this is just me, so I could be completely wrong. There must be something going on between what Eddie wants and what Dan Ashworth wants. Just not take the individuals out of it. How much control is the manager going to have versus how much control is director of football going to have? Kind of back and forth. What's the balance, or is it 50-50, or should it be 70-30? There's something going on there in my mind. That's all. That's all. If I was in that situation as a club board member, or I'd want that resolved as soon as possible, cut and dry.
I've been following what Chris has said on bats and what he's said in previous podcasts. We were absolutely grateful to have the influence that Dan Ashworth brought to the club when we got him from Brighton. He seems to be level-headed. He seems to have a plan as to what he wants to do going forward. We got him from Brighton. We waited out his gardening leave from Brighton in order to make him functional at Newcastle.
Yeah.
The question I have is, like John, what is the plan? If the fact is we brought him in expecting to do a job and we can't do the job because of the shackles of either FFP or what is the PIF willing to spend because of those regulations or the PSR regulations, we're in a quandary there.
Yeah.
I don't think it comes down to Dan Ashworth versus Eddie Howe, John. I think it's a question of what can we do? What are our limits? Dan Ashworth appeared to be able to function in the Brighton atmosphere with that. It appears that we might not be able to satisfy his planning at Newcastle, but ultimately, let's be honest. If you read the tea leaves, if you read the ins and outs of the press, it's because he has a close relationship with Ratcliffe, the minority owner now at Manchester United. And let's be honest, dude, it's about money. Dan Ashworth is probably going to triple his wages to do the same job at Manchester United. And I, for one, am with the club 100% in that regard. And whatever we've been planning in our boardroom, we don't want to benefit Manchester United in any way, shape, or form. So
Right.
whatever gardening leave we can enforce on this transaction, by God, we should do it. And let's extract every pound of flesh we can get out of Manchester United. They wanted 13 million as a loan option for Jesse Lingard. Where's Jesse Lingard playing today? FC Seoul in Korea. So my feelings are, here's a guy who wanted to come to the club because he wasn't getting in minutes at Man U. They were trying to extort us in order to get him on loan. We didn't play ball. Well, now they want our guy.
Yeah.
Turnabout's fair play.
They got to play ball. Yeah. No, I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree with that. Yeah. But it seems like, and for whatever circumstance, you might be right on that, Dan. The PSR stuff and the FFP stuff is influencing everybody. And to be honest, probably Dan is not getting what he would like because of that. And same with Eddie. Eddie would have loved to pull in 2 players in January, you know? So I think they're both getting screwed on that. But I think there's got to be some philosophical difference too that they keep coming up on. Given this situation, Dan wants this, Eddie wants that. I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, they all both seem like genuinely good guys. They're just fighting hard for what's right for the club, I'm sure. But I wonder if they're button heads a little bit.
I don't know if we'll ever have the answer to that, John. My feelings are that both of them are rowing in the same direction.
Yeah.
The question is whether or not. Okay, we got Dan Ashworth from Brighton. Last season, we were fighting Brighton for European places.
Yeah.
The fact that we waited out 4 or 5 months of gardening leave in order to get access to Dan Ashworth, begs the question: is it really what Dan Ashworth is wanting to do? Is it really about what funding he has available to him? Is it really a personality conflict between him and Eddie Howe, like it might have been between him and De Zerbi? I don't know if we'll ever have the answer to that question. My thing is, it sounds to me like he's buddy with Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe wants him. He's going to double, triple his wages.
Yeah.
How big a carrot do you need?
and Dan, you're right, and that puts us in the driver's seat. It's like he's either going to be on gardening leave for a long time, or we're going to get a lot out of him, or we should get a fair amount out of him, and that'll help the club. We'll get over this. If he leaves, we'll get over this.
It sounds like the club has options. It sounds like the club has reinforcements in place that they're willing to bring in as a fill-in for Dan Ashworth. It sounds like we've got options available to us that we can readily fill in. The concern here is making sure that we don't lose any intelligence that we've gathered over the last 12 months to Man United.
Yeah,
we're supposedly fighting them for their swing up the table. We don't want to lose any grasp on what we've got now, and we certainly don't want to benefit a rival.
Which I mean, I guess this season wouldn't probably matter because they can't make any signings. I wouldn't feel comfortable. That he's in the meetings, and that when he goes to Manchester United, he's gonna know what's happening here. It's almost impossible to separate the two. And one thing I can say about this is that obviously I can deduct that he wants to go, because if not, this would have been dead and over with a long time ago. Like, it would have been. I don't know where this is coming from, but I'm happy at Newcastle, and I just don't know why. I mean, I can respect somebody's decision 100%, but I just don't know. Obviously, it has to be because of money. That's 100%, because we have the better project out of any club I'm sorry to say, in Europe. We have the FFP deal, but you're going to get over that at some point. And Dan Ashworth should have known this and should know that we are battling this until we can correct it, which it seems like it's going to be corrected at some point, maybe at the end of the season. The FFP, the Premier League, does not want to have this transfer window like we just did, that nobody spent nothing. It just doesn't benefit the league at all. And so I believe that I just don't, other than it has to be because of money, and that's okay. That's fairly okay. All of us would make a similar move. I mean, I would say I just can't blame anybody for making a money move. That's all right. But
what did Cuba Gooding Jr. do in Jerry Maguire?
Yeah.
Show me the money.
Show me the money.
I don't know who said this, but somebody said it's not about the money; it's about the damn money. It's all about the damn money.
And let's. I mean, again, like you said, Chris, Dan Ashworth. If this move goes forward, Dan Ashworth is going to be in the boardroom. He's going to be in on the conversations. He's going to know what our plans are going forward. The expectation is shut your trap. Don't say anything. You're not allowed to say anything. If we find out that you have said something, we've got you by the legal balls. All of those things.
Yeah.
I just wish we weren't in the situation at the time that we're in.
Yeah.
Like you said, Chris, there's nothing really that can be done about it other than planning for what's coming in the next transfer window. It just,
Yeah.
for me, what I was saying was I wish Dan Ashworth had the patience to see out what we're doing. And
Yeah.
and at this point right now, it looks like Dan Ashworth wants to leave. At the same time, we could be surprised and Dan Ashworth tells United pound sand.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean,
It could be.
Yeah, very well could be, and we'll see how that develops. I just wanted to get your opinion, of course, on this situation. Listen, we got to wrap up. We had a great show. I appreciate Dan for doing this outside the whole time. He
Yeah,
does.
buddy.
It's raining here in Carmel, so I'm trying to
Yeah.
find it every time I move. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find some kind of cover.
Yeah. No, you're a trooper, man. Our own Ian Toon Trader, he's part of the Insiders. He says, "I love Dan's beard," so that's
Oh,
cool.
you should see it when it's colored black and white.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be awesome. That's gonna be awesome. Jordy C says these guys talk so much sense. I could listen to them all day. Yeah, man, these two, I push buttons. That's all I do. But no,
No,
the guys,
Chris, you run a good show.
Yes, you do.
well, I appreciate that.
Chris, I appreciate every time that we have the option to come on. Thank you.
Yep.
Oh, that's it. This is your show, man. It's yours. One last thing, a question. LT says, "How can John be 12 when he has a mustache?"
Because I never grew up. That's why.
Exactly.
Peter
Exactly.
Pan syndrome is what John suffers from.
Yeah. It's been a blast. I appreciate everybody's support. Like the stream on your way out if you haven't done so. Subscribe to the show. You know, we got shows every day. So Newcastle United content nonstop throughout the
Yeah.
week.
If anybody's watching this for the first time, stay connected with Chris Rodriguez. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. It's a pleasure to be on his show. We just want to grow the Newcastle fandom in the United States. So,
Yep.
Right.
keep an eye on the show, be part of the show, participate in the show, like, subscribe. Let's do this.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
And a special thanks to Harry Austin for becoming a member, Mighty Mag for also becoming a member, as well as David Lee. You guys are
right.
good. Rock on, everybody else. And yeah, I appreciate your support, and we'll see you on the next one. We'll see you. Ciao,
Take
ciao.
care, you guys. Good
Take
seeing
Take
you,
care,
both.
guys. Good to see you.
Good seeing you.